Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of CropLife Retail Week. I'm Eric Sfiligoj, editor of CropLife and CropLife Iron, here at the Tech Hub Live 2025 event with Lara Sowinski and special guest Amy Asmus from Asmus Farm Supply. Amy, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you for inviting me. Fun to
Yes.
be here, and it's fun to be here with you guys.
Very good. So, and also should add that you are the reigning chairperson at the Agricultural Retailers Association as well. So, shouldn't leave that out.
Yes, and thank you, just on behalf of the Ag Retailers Association, for really including us in the partnership and the advisory board for this great event. And also extending to our members as a benefit a discount on their registration. So thank you very much on behalf of the ARA and our members that took advantage of that benefit. Thank you.
Very good. Yes, we love the partnership ourselves. So hey, I just a couple of things since we're here live recording at the Tech Hub Live event. I'm going to give you a couple of the takeaways I had. I mean, the big thing I've heard, again, that phrase, garbage in, garbage out. I know about 10, 14 years ago, I used to hear that phrase at almost every event I went to regarding data. And I think I heard that phrase used more at this event than I've heard it used in at least the last 5 or 6 years. So again, the point being that everybody's talking about artificial intelligence and systems that run with that are being used in agriculture, and the point being that if the data going into the AI program is inaccurate or not good, that what comes back out will also not be good. So that was my biggest takeaway. Miss Lara, what's your big one takeaway from the event so far?
Honestly, I think that people really, it's remarkable from one year to the next. Last year, we were talking about AI, and I was like dreaming, okay, what could it do? What could, kind of, I felt still scratching the surface. I think this year, it's clear that a lot of people are playing with it, they're using it. And so now we're really getting into like, hey, this is working, this is not. This is how you get the most out. It's almost like, this is how you write a prompt. This is how you get the most out of it. This is where we just came from a panel on ag refrigerators. Chris, I forget, I'm sorry, Chris's last name, but really good questions that are starting to come up on the legal side and reading the fine print and that
Do we have a date?
perennial question, who owns the debt? I mean, this really does now come into play in a way that, maybe didn't exist before, that data privacy and the security part of it. That was great. I think the other speaker, Arthur, also mentioned, hey, like, don't wait. Don't wait till somebody kind of is here and they developed it, people are using it, they'll have the customer base, and if you think you're going to catch up, you're not. You're never going to catch up. I mean, it's moving fast. You need to get in there. You need to figure it out, which is honestly kind of a prevailing thing. So it's been good. A lot of good decisions this year.
Yeah. So again, I guess Data Hub Live may be the sort of minor moniker for this event. But yeah, Miss Amy, what are your takeaways so far from this event?
Well, I love the trade show because it gives us a chance as a retailer to really look at the offerings that are out there. And I always look at technology as this broad umbrella. And so you have technology that's in operation. So you have like the Kalers out there that are helping with systems that help retailers with their operation. They also have systems out there that are helping them with our back office stuff. And so you have ERP systems and things that are helping in the back office. So when I went through the trade show this year, I was kind of looking for that technology that we can use to help our grower. And so I always think of the whole season. We have planting, and you have a lot of data around planting. You have the spring season and you have the harvest season. And those seasons, the technology is plentiful, the data is collected in a lot of different things. But what is out there for a grower to really look at the growing season between those three big areas. So Emergent had a great booth here. They are looking at setting up an Internet of Things. What I'm most excited about is they're partnering with a lot of other people that were also vendors here that are providing sensors so that we can use their Internet of Things to sense some of the technology, some of the information that we use to make decisions between those big tech systems. And so I was pretty excited to see their booth and some of their collaborators. So if you're not yet a collaborator with them and you have a sensor that you think the growers would love to use, make sure you get a hold of them. I talk a lot. Ken Zuckerberg's a friend of mine, and he always asks three questions though. And I think with technology, we have to ask those questions and really use them to evaluate should we. So Jeff Blair had the keynote presentation, and he talked about, just because we can doesn't mean it's something that the grower needs. So I always ask what is it? So what? So what? Why do I care about this? What is it going to do for me and my day? And then the last question is, now what? Now that I have this, what is my next form of action? And if there is no now what, I care enough about the so what to do and now what, then we're wasting time, effort on things that are trying to tell the grower that they have a common in, instead of technology that's trying to solve the problem for them. So I really went through the trade show and had a takeaway on there are a lot of systems out there that are looking at this. So it's the role of the retailer now to evaluate that, and what do we want to take to our growers as trusted advisors, and how will they help them solve a problem and not just provide another revenue stream for retail, because that's the story.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Because again, I know for years, and this comes back to the whole data question, like you said. We collect a lot of data in agriculture. I mean, for years and years, I visited farm and ag retailers, and they have rows of binders of information was collected in the fall or in the spring, and sometimes just out of curiosity, I've run my finger across the top of the binders, and there's a layer of dust on them. So the data had been collected, but there was obviously no time to be going through that data and sort of digging through it, finding the key information that they're going to need going forward. And in my mind, when I first heard about AI systems going into the marketplace, I'm like, hey, there's something that actually can take this data and do something with it and spit out some recommendations that then an ag retailer like yourself can go back to your grower customer and say, hey, based on our modeling, this could be a good avenue for you to follow going forward in the next season versus what you've been doing, and here's the data to back it up. So am I wrong in that assumption, or is that where we're headed?
I think, I'm a big proponent of customer segmentation. And so when you say grower, a lot of people put growers in that bucket.
True.
And we have growers that are innovative collaborators that are going to be on the front end of stuff and love the data. We've been a partner with Tyrannus for the last several years, and Tyrannus is one of those businesses that fits in between the big ones. They're running drones over systems and doing stand counts. So what do we do with the stand count? It's better than Harlan and I going out in a side-by-side for a romantic evening, driving through the fields, counting.
Harlan, sorry.
Counting our stand. But they have that, and then they move on to where the weeds were. And some of our growers eat up that information. I have that. Now I can look at this. Can you sit down and go through my Tyrannus flight map to tell me what this is? And surprisingly, I was talking to Harlan this morning, and he said he had a grower yesterday that called him up and said, could you sit down and go through my maps with me? And Harlan went through and explained everything. And the grower goes, I don't know if I can do this again next year. And Harlan said, math. And the grower shared with them that it makes me feel like I've been a damn farm. So you have those farmers that will adopt it and run full force and love the data. And you have those farmers that almost feel threatened by the data.
Interesting.
And you're going to have those across any spectrum of growers in the buckets. So you really have to focus what you do with the data and how they're going to adopt it and use it to the type of grower they are. Because some will adopt and some will not.
Yeah, that's interesting. But that kind of ties back to something you mentioned, Jeff Flair, the CEO of Greenpoint Ag, who was our keynote speaker yesterday at this event, and he showed that graph, or he used the emoji to sort of like, there's the idea, and then there's the resistance to it, and the depression, and the anger, and then eventually problem solving and the acceptance comes. But it's a process that doesn't happen overnight. So the fact that there'd be a segment that would be possibly threatened by some data showing, hey, what you've been doing, it might not be the most effective way. You're right. Some people, by human nature, don't want to hear that. So that's interesting. It'll be very fascinating to me because, again, like Laura had said when we started earlier, that, last year when we were at this event, AI seemed in its infancy in terms of the possibilities. And now it's a year later, and it's like there are a lot of things out there. There are a lot of systems out there that are experimenting with this, that, the other thing, and they're throwing things against the wall, see what sticks. And it's just moving so fast. I'm sure a year from now, if we gather again here at the 2026 Tech Hub Live and you're talking about this topic again, I'm probably going to be very surprised, pleasantly, I hope, on how far we've come versus where we are right now.
The other thing, and again, just calling this panel that I thought we've had on Tuesday morning here, we were talking about, evaluating and, what things do we want to do, particularly now, we want to was doing and what kind of stood out for me too is like sometimes it's not this big, fantastic stuff, across the body and big, the small games are just as important. Tammy Craig Schilling used an example like, look, we measured how much time it took, say for a farmer or a retailer, to look up a label on the details, and she was saying, 3 to 3 minutes that saved on their feet. So to me, and she was talking about there's small language model, and she said then we were able to bring it down to 15 seconds, and if you do that time and time glare, at the end of the day, look how much time it gives. I mean, I would say, of all the industries out there, ad is still the most customer-centric way to make people know, who you're married to, what your kids are doing, what Tinder, the whole thing. So you keep all those small gains, just very practical. I had at the end of the day, I've saved X amount of minutes or X amount of hours. It's fun that you can spend watching these relationships from the other side. Very unique. And that, it was like, hey, sometimes these aren't big, far and touch the face. Those small games, these measurable ones, that you can see through zip on, that's aces for you.
All right. Well, hey, I know even though we're on site, it's a little different of a venue for us. We're still going to be playing the game at the end of the program. So it is time, folks, for fun with numbers.
So one thing before we go into the fun with numbers,
okay,
if I can say something here at the end is, I've never been known to be one that follows the norms, so you're going to be sorry you put me live in front of the mic. But I believe that Laura and I make a wonderful team.
Oh, indeed.
And we have worked before this to actually do a question for fun with numbers. So since the norm is you not being on the hot seat
Oh.
and putting us on the hot seat,
Okay.
Well, that's fine. I have no problems with that.
we thought we would
I will not shirk from a challenge. I will not shirk from a challenge. Okay.
So here we go.
Hit me with
Time
it.
for fun with numbers.
Folks, I did not see this coming, but okay.
You should have. It's a very Amy idea. So your number today is 8.8. And that's a percentage.
Okay. All right.
So the options you have is A, increase in the price of ground beef from June to July.
Oh,
B, increase of soybeans rated good to excellent from USDA report from July 24 to July 25.
Okay.
C, increase of corn rated good to excellent from USDA report July 24 to July 25. And D, the average bourbon lost in a 53-gallon barrel to the Angel's Share and the Devil's Cut.
Okay, well, given your and for folks, if you do not know, Amy Asmus is the queen of bourbon in Iowa and probably almost 30 or 40 other states. So, I would almost want to lean towards D. However, since D is always the fun part of Fun with Numbers, and the fact we're in Iowa, I'm gonna go with C, the corn question.
Man, that's the right answer. Ding, 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 ding. Do you tip him off? I did not. I should have picked, 6.6% is the percent loss to the Angel's Share and Devil's Cut.
Okay.
And I almost picked that one just because I knew
Yes.
you would never pick D.
And again, the tradition is D is the fun answer to the question. But yeah, okay, like I said, we're in Iowa, and it's funny because the question I had prepared was about corn as well, since we're in Iowa. So, all right, we're on the same page.
So I did, just because I always wonder at the end of Fun with Numbers, I have all the other percentages. So
Good.
an increase of soybeans rated good to excellent from USDA, it's actually 0%.
Really?
It is the same percent rated good to excellent as it was last year.
The statistic guy in me says that you can never get a 0% change. That just seems like an anomaly.
Yeah, so that was interesting. And the increase in the price of ground beef from June to July, that's been in the news lately. That's actually 11.8%.
And I'll say I did know that because I had just read that article and I knew it was higher than 8.8.
So there's the answers to
Mr. Swart.
to all of them. Gee.
I'm glad I was up to the challenge.
Yeah, Laura's like, make it really hard so he can't get it right.
Because I think she thinks that I do that to her, and I try not to. I really don't. So, well, hey, folks, thanks for joining us for this edition of CropLife Retail Week. We appreciate it, and also a big thank you to our friends at Farm for Profit for the podcasters for letting us use their equipment here at the event. We certainly appreciate the help as fellow broadcasters. And we hope you will join us again next week when we'll get back to our regular scheduled retail week. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
If you have questions or comments about today's episode of Retail Week, contact us by email or Twitter, or type your message in the comments section below. Your feedback is important to us. We will try our best to address your thoughts in next week's episode, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.